Good evening, race fans. Welcome back to the fifth round of the League Zero iRacing Formula 3 series, the premier Formula 3 racing series here at Autodromo Internazionale Monza. This is a 3.6 mile 11-turn road course here at Monza, Italy. Drivers are on track, wrapping up qualifying right now. We're getting ready to set our grid for tonight's feature race. Tonight for our feature race, we're going to have 22 laps on the deck for the feature race. Driver's going to have 50% fuel capacity, expected to take one pit stop, and it features a 45-minute time length in case we run late with a full course caution. Sprint race will be half of that, 11 laps, 30-minute time allotment for that race, and we'll have a 10-minute intermission in between the two. Driver's going to be getting ready to grid up here momentarily, just finishing up final qualifying laps. Looks like we've got a pretty healthy field. 22 cars have turned in time tonight. We've got a couple cars possibly waiting to get out, get a lap in, or maybe electing to start in the back. But either way, pretty healthy field. Glad to have you all on board again. We saw some crazy upsets in the sprint race last week at Fiji. Expect to potentially see more of the same. Qualifying has wrapped up. We're going to get you our starting grid while the drivers make their way out onto that starting grid. Rolling off tonight, off of your pole position is going to be none other than the 16 of Finley Fitzsimmons. Outside of him, second's going to be the 11 of Reed Gibson. Jack Mundy puts the number 2 machine starting third. Micah Burnett, the 59, starting fourth. Ryan Tebow, the 27, starting in fifth. We've got Michael Chow in the 66. He's going to be starting in sixth. Jared Ziegler in the 57, going to be starting seventh. Max Wobbles, 13, starting eighth. Jake Duckall, the 99, going to be starting in ninth. And behind him is going to be the 61 of Edward Frederick Bittner. He starts 10th. John Kasai in the 3 starts 11th. Felipe Sarkis in the 4 starts 12th. Antonio Bianchi 17 starts in 13th. Let's get the rest of the grid there for you. Sorry about that. Gareth McAllister, our favorite Australian, starts in 14th on the 25 machine. Peter Reidinger, the 44, starts 15th. Jay Shirley in the 92 starts 16th. Blaine Sparling in the 9 starts 17th. Norman King, 28, going off 18th. Alex Penn in the 30 starts 19th. Felipe Ramos, 73, starts 20th. Levi Opitz, 7, starts 21st. Nick Terrell, 81, starting 22nd. Nick Beaver, the 20, rolls off 23 in the 10 machine. And Kevin Burrows in the 80 machine rounds out our 24-car field. Drivers going to be waiting to get going. Looks like we're waiting on just a couple more drivers to make their way out onto the grid. Give them a few moments before we get ready to roll off. It's like just 2 more drivers to make their way out onto the grid. Again, going 22 laps here today. Getting ready to go here at Monza. To see how the drivers are going to go. They are waiting for the lights to go green. And there's the green lights. Drivers are off. Finley Fitzsimmons going to work the left-hand side as they work their way down the front stretch into the very hard right-left combo of 1 and 2. Fitzsimmons leading Reed Gibson. Tries to dive to the left-hand side, take the preferred line through the corner. See him going to have the clearance on the exit. Jack Mundy falls back into third. Looks like Reidinger has a bit of an issue in the back. Looks like he might have just had an off track, so we'll get back to the front there. Finley Fitzsimmons going to lead Reed Gibson. Reed Gibson's going to work the left-hand or right-hand side. He's going to come into the next chicane. He's going to try to outbrake Fitzsimmons. He does, takes over the lead. Fitzsimmons, though, not letting him by. See Fitzsimmons grabbing a draft. Jack Mundy, you can see working the right-hand side as well. Oh, Mundy and Fitzsimmons make contact. You see Fitzsimmons going flipping. Ends up on the outside safer barrier there of the tires. It's done. I think his race is likely to be done, although he tries to get rolling. See how bad that car is going to be messed up as he makes his way back out onto the track. Heavy left side damage. would imagine the steering is going to be pretty bad, and you see him parking it, taking a tow. So Fitzsimmons' night in the feature race ends early with contact with number 2, Jack Mundy. Allows Reed Gibson to pull away. He opens up an almost 1.5 second lead over Micah Barnett and Michael Chow. Barnett and Chow were battling inside the top 4 for most of the feature race last week at Fuji. Chow's going to set his sights on Barnett. He's a half second behind. They work their way out of turn number 11. They're going to be coming back onto the front stretch behind Reed Gibson. Looks like they've also got the 7 of Levi Opitz just ahead as well. You see Gibson there leading the field down. He's going to open up the first lap. So one driver out of the race, that's Finley Fitzsimmons. We're going to go back through the field as we've got some tight side-by-side racing. We'll look here at a battle, Jack Bundy and the 27 of Ryan Tebow. Bundy trying to recover after that early contact with Fitzsimmons. Set Fitzsimmons spinning off the track. Tebow's going to have the 99 of Jake Duckwall looking to his left side. Taking one corner, he's a little bit overhead shot here as the drivers come down the straightaway. Duckwall going to try to take the inside line into the chicane. Duckwall does take over 7th from Tebow. He's going to set his sights on Mundy up ahead. Up ahead of Mundy is a battle for 4th and 5th. That's 13 of Max Wobbles leading the 57 of Jared Ziegler. You see Ziegler, trying to grab a toe off of Wobbles. Jack Mundy also trying to insert himself in this. Ziegler's going to look to the right-hand side. Flips just a little bit of the grass there. Falls back in line behind Wobbles. Enter the left-hander. Ziegler with a little bit of curb. Oh, he goes off track. Looks like he's able to keep it under control. Doesn't make contact with anybody, but that allows Jack Mundy to pull alongside of him. Mundy does clear him as they work their way back onto the straightaway. Going to be taking a tow down the straightaway into 11. Let's see who gets the advantage here. It's like Ziegler, maybe possibly a little bit of damage with that off-track excursion. Carrying quite as much momentum. 99 of Jake Duckwall now going to grab a toe off as Ziegler goes on by him. So I would imagine Ziegler's a bit damaged, possibly a bit underpowered. The car is just not carrying the pace that the rest of the field is around him, as Duckwall and Tebow were able to work by him with no problem. Go back through the field as Sparling and Reidinger working their way through 1 and 2. This is for 11th and 12th. Reminder again, if you're new to the series, top 12 after the finish of the feature race will flip their starting positions for the sprint race, meaning first place finisher in the feature race will start 12th in the sprint race, and the 12th place finisher in the feature race will go to the pole. This driver's going to be battling here hard for it. Let's see what they can do. Looks like Jack Mundy with an issue will try to grab him. He spun himself off the track in the second chicane. He's going to get himself corrected, but that puts him all the way back to 22nd. So we go back as now Reidinger, Gareth McAllister going to go for a battle. Reidinger with a little hop over the curb. Reidinger just ahead of Nick Beaver and Antonio Bianchi. Right now, Nick Beaver, your current hard charger, up 10 spots after starting in 2030s, up to 13th. Looks like McAllister has a bit of an issue. Gives way to a few spots. So Nick Beaver in the 10 machine. His way behind Bling Sparling, he's just ahead of Reidinger and Bianchi. Let's see who can grab that final transfer spot. Not transfer, but pole sitting spot for the sprint race, currently being held by Peter Reidinger. Bianchi, though, all over the back of Reidinger. Looks like Beaver heads to the far inside portion of the front stretch. Bianchi going to try to grab a draft off of him, work his way by Peter Reidinger. So put Antonio Bianchi up to 12th, Reidinger back to 13th now. Bianchi looking to start on the pole for the sprint race. But I don't think he's done trying to work his way through the field as he sets his sights on Nick Beaver. Fastest lap of the race last time by your race leader, the 11 of Reed Gibson. Goes with a 1 minute 44.65 second lap. They are flying around this 3.6 mile course. Go up through the field a little bit. So we've got side by side for Jared Ziegler and Felipe Sarkis. Ziegler in the 57 white and green machine, Sarkis in the number 4 purple teal machine. Ziegler holds off Sarkis for the moment. Sarkis also has John Kasai in the 3 machine hunting him down. It's for a battle of 6th, 7th, and 8th on track. You see Sarkis trying to zigzag break the toe of Kasai. Kasai looking for a way around Sarkis. Falls back in line behind him. Work their way through the chicane. Oh, 1 car wide. I believe that's the 27 Ryan Tebow wide. Driver's going to be using a little bit of that runoff there to try to carry as much momentum out of the corner, but you got to be careful to go too wide, get in that grass, possibly upset the car, go for a slide. Kasai going to look to, or Sarkis going to look to the inside of Ziegler. They go side by side as they work their way out of turn number 11 back on the front stretch. Sarkis going to see if he can grab a toe off of Ryan Tebow. John Kasai going to make a hard move from the extreme left side all the way to the far right side. Going to try to set up a pass, a 2-for-1 going into turn 1. See if he can execute this or if we're going to have contact. Sarkis has to be aware of Kasai. Kasai backs off a little bit though. Respectful racing by both of them. Pushes Kasai just a little bit wide. He loses a little bit of pace there from Sarkis and Ziegler. So Sarkis holds on to 6th right now, with Ziegler back to 7th. Kasai falls back to 8th. He's now a 2.5 behind this battle. Go back as we've got another battle brewing again between Peter Reiginger and Antonio Bianchi for 12th and 13th. Bianchi holds the left side into the chicane. Reiginger falls just behind him. Reiginger in the black carbon machine. Looks like Gareth McAllister now gets by Peter Reiginger. This puts Gareth McAllister up to 13th. He recovers after a little bit of an off-track excursion. Bianchi going to try to hold 12th down, though. He's got a almost full second gap on Gareth McAllister. Looks like Alex Penn goes for a bit of a spin coming out of the corner. You see him there on the right side of the track. Gets himself spun back around, back in the right direction. Car doesn't seem to have sustained too much damage, so gives a little wiggle to feel it out. Looks like he should be okay. Go back up here. As you see, Sarkis and Ziegler have closed the gap to the 50 or 27 Ryan Tebow. Now just a 4/10 second advantage for Tebow to Sarkis. Sarkis trying to move his way up through the field. He's up 6 spots after starting at 12th. Let's see, grab pace here. Sarkis grabs a big toe off of Tebow, makes the move by him on the front stretch into turn 1, clears him with ease. This puts Sarkis up to 5th. Now Tebow back to 6th. Jared Ziegler going to try to take advantage of that, puts himself within a car length of Ryan Tebow. See Ziegler trying to hunt Tebow down as they work their way out of turn number 3. Tebow not done though with that 5th spot, trying to hunt Felipe Sarkis back down. Jared Ziegler not wanting to let this battle go away. He's looking to try to move up after starting 7th. Pushes the car a little wide, goes off track with the left side. Keeps it going straight though. Sarkis pulls away, 3/4 of a second advantage over Tebow. Ziegler gets a big run on Tebow, gets by him. So Tebow now falling back as John Kasai also works by him. So Ryan Tebow back to 8th, John Kasai up to 7th, Jared Ziegler up to 6th. We've got a big battle back here. Bianchi, Sparling, and Jake Duckwall. Bianchi's worked his way up to 9th. We're trying to work through the field. He's 4/10 of a second ahead of Sparling. Got a big thicket here of cars. It's all within about a 1.5 seconds of each other. We've got 6 cars in total. Bianchi, Sparling, Duckwall, McAllister, Beaver, and Reidinger. That is 9th through 14th on track. Some of our closest racing. See what these drivers are able to do. So they come across the line, begin their 7th lap. Would be just under 1/3 of the way through this feature race. We've kept it green so far. See what happens. Alex Penn, bit of an issue again. He's running 22nd. Looks like he went for a little bit of a spin there. turn 11, gets it righted. So go back here as Bianchi leads Sparling now by just a tenth of a second. You see Sparling working all over the rear wing. Bianchi tries to duck to the left side. He's going to come out of turn number... Oh, Bianchi hard contact with Sparling. You see the two of them flipping there. Both of them going up and over. Hard contact. Oh, looks like Jack Mundy piles into Antonio Bianchi. Track clogged. Blaine Sparling toes. Antonio Bianchi toes. I'm assuming Jack Mundy going to have issues as you see heavy contact to the left front damage. He does toes, so that's 3 cars out just like that. He's Carrick McAllister surviving. That puts him to 9th. Jake Duckwall moves up to 10th. Nick Beaver up to 11th. And Peter Redinger up to 12th. So side-by-side battle between Bianchi and Sparling leads to contact. With these open-wheel Formula 3 cars, they don't take kindly to that kind of contact. Both of them hit retaining walls, flipping up with the narrow straights. Drivers coming back down. That led to a little bit more contact for the field. Quite a bit of carnage there. We saw some acrobatics that the drivers did not want to attempt there. So you see right now Peter Redinger back to 12th. Holding that coveted pole position to start. Looks like Jake Duckwall in the 99 going to duck off, grab his service here. It's going to be your first driver on for green flag stops. We're going to look back just one spot between Nick Beater and Peter Redinger. Beaver in the 10 machine, Redinger in the 44 machine. Redinger about 0.6 of a second. Jake Duckwall pitting, now puts Norman King up to 12th. Should go back here as we got side by side. Looks like Felipe Ramos works his way by Jay Shirley. He's gonna take over 13th. Shirley back to 14th. Edward Frederick Bittner 15th. So see what goes on. Duckwall back off from his service. He's rolling again. So right now, Nick Beaver in the 13. Up 13 spots in the 10 machine, your current hard charger. Peter Redinger moves up to 11th, Norman King back in 12th. It's probably one of your closest battles on the track. Everybody in the front 4 all separated themselves out. Beaver trying to hold on to that spot. Redinger trying to do all he can, get himself inside the top 10, grab a couple points out of the feature race, take advantage of some misfortunes, some accidents for other drivers. Redinger working his way, trying to close back up. They work their way through turn number 11. They're going to be back onto the front stretch. We'll see. Redinger can try to grab a toe. Looks like he does. Sabler and Felipe Sarkis on the pit lane. Working the left side down the front stretch. See if he tries to make an outside-inside maneuver on Nick Beaver. Looks like he backs off, just elects to fall in behind Beaver through 1 and 2. Work their way through turn number 3. See Ryan Tebow and Gareth McAllister seconds ahead of these two. They're engaged in their own battle for 6th and 7th on track. John Kasai quite a bit ahead of this group. Kasai holds down 5th place. Nick Beaver the last time by is about 0.4 of a second slower than Peter Redinger. Gap stands at just over half a second. They are both closing up on at Ryan Tebow the last time by. They were almost a full second faster than Ryan Tebow. You see Tebow in the white and blue 27 machine. He's not much further ahead of Nick Beaver. Beaver's actually got the gap down to 0.3 of a second. So this is going to turn into a 3-car battle for 7th, 8th, and 9th. As a few more drivers have elected to come in and take their green flag stops. A little bit of a block there by Ryan. Nick Beaver jumps to the right side, avoids the block, gets on by Ryan, puts himself into 7th. He's going to try to chase down Gareth. Reidinger going to try to look to complete a pass as well. Work their way back out on the front stretch. Reidinger jumps to the right-hand side. Ryan Tebow has to concede that 8th place to Peter Reidinger. Just does not have the pace down the front stretch, losing them a little bit. So Bieber, Reidinger moved himself up to 7th and 8th. Ryan Tebow back to 9th. Just under a second difference between Gareth McAllister and Nick Bieber. We'll see if that closes up. Last time by, Nick Bieber was about 0.7 of a second faster than Gareth McAllister. So we'll see what happens there. Look back as we've got a little bit of a battle here between the 73 of Felipe Ramos and the 92 of Jay Shirley. It's for 12th and 13th. Ramos working the inside line. Work out of turn at number 3. Come into 4 and 5 here. See Ramos trying to close down the gap to Bittner. He's a half-second back, and he's got a half-second advantage on Jay Shirley. This 11th, 12th, and 13th. Shirley trying to take away this 12th spot from Ramos. Put himself in the provisional pole for the sprint race. Ramos not having any of it. He wants to get away from Shirley. Possibly grab a spot away from Bittner, put himself into 11th. All 3 drivers have yet to make their pit stops for fuel. Sarkis, Jared Ziegler, and Jake Duckwall, you're only 3 so far that have made green flag stops. Oh, looks like Bittner ran off track, ran a little bit wide, so that allows Ramos Shirley to go on by him, puts him back to 13th now. That coming out of turn number 10. Ryan Tebow in the 27 jumps into pit road. Felipe Ramos has opened up the gap a little over a second ahead of Jay Shirley, who goes 11th. Shirley in provisional pole in 12th. Jump up here. We've got Gareth McAllister, Nick Bieber, and Peter Reidinger closing up. That's 7th, 6th, 7th, and 8th on the track. They work their way out of turn number 3 here on the straightaway. See if anybody else starts to work pit road this time by, as we're going to be halfway done the next time by. Alistair opens up the gap just a little bit, has about 0.3 of a second on Bieber. Bieber's got just a slightly bigger advantage over Reidinger, but that one keeps fluctuating, so let's call it equal distance for all 3 drivers apart. McAllister started 14th, up 8 spots. Bieber still your hard charger, up 16 spots now after starting 23rd. Reidinger also up 7 spots, so drivers have been able to avoid some of the major contact here. Find themselves a handful of spots up from the starting grid tonight. Bieber and Reidinger look to grab toes off drivers in front. Work their way into turn number 11. Let's see if we can ride on board. Let's ride on board with Peter Reidinger. They work their way onto the front stretch. See if we can kind of grab a little bit of a view of what Monza's going to look like here. See if any kind of move's going to happen between Nick Bieber pulled off. So Reidinger to be chasing down Gareth McAllister. You take this here through 1 and 2. It's the hard right-left-hand combination chicane. Works their way out. And here we've got the gradual wide open turn 3. Drivers working their way through that. It's like Bittner also on the big road for his green flag stop. See plenty of straightaways for drivers to try to grab toe. 4-5, left-hand, right-hand chicane. Gareth McAllister disappearing there for a moment. A little lack of connection with the iRacing server. He's back in, no issues. Reidinger trying to get all he can to grab toe. These straightaways, grab as much momentum from McAllister. Way here into the left, right hand, left-hand combination of 8, 9, and 10. Of a wide exit there out of 8. Reidinger, Gareth McAllister able to hold on to that. another straightaway. This technically is in the infield section of the steeply banked 2.6 mile oval. Not used in this Grand Prix circuit for Formula 3 drivers, but interesting oval nonetheless. Right here, grabbing toe off of McAllister. They're going to work the middle part of the track now. Let's see what he elects to do. He lifts, stays behind McAllister, not looking to make a pass here into turn 1, so I'm trying to save a little bit of fuel potentially. Electing to kind of just ride here safely in 7th place. So he falls behind McAllister. It's a lap around Monza for you. Jay Shirley now on to pit road. Grab a battle here. Nick Durrell, Nick Beaver, 81 and the 10 machine with the 57 of Jared Ziegler just ahead. This for 11th, 12th, and 13th on track. Ziegler, Beaver both making green flag stops already. Durrell, the odd man out of that group, is yet to make his stop. Started back in 22nd tonight, finds his way up 10 spots in 12th. You see Nick Beaver taking a hard pass, grabs the toe off of Terrell, works by him as they work their way out of 5, heading into 6 and 7. So Beaver going to try to set his sights on Jared Ziegler. Ziegler pitted 3 laps sooner than Beaver. See how that works out. They work by Felipe Ramos. Ramos in the 73 having a bit of an issue right off track. This puts him back to 12th. Reed Gibson, your race leader on pit road. Gives the race lead over to the 59 of Micah Barnett. Top 3 as they run on track, Barnett, Chow, and Wobbles. 3 up front still have to come to pit road. Top 4 all have yet to stop. As Gibson completes his service, works his way back down pit road, back onto the track. Gareth McAllister and Norman King also pull off to get their service here, coming on lap number 14. Jump up is Peter Reidinger. As Reed Gibson all over his rear wing. Gibson, 2nd place starter tonight, race lead for most of the race here. Works on by Reidinger. Reidinger on older tires. Gibson able to clear him with no problem. Now we got just 6 drivers left to pit. Barnett, Chow, Wobbles, Kasai, Reidinger, and Nick Terrell. 6 drivers still left to complete their service here in the feature race. Just tuning in, glad to have you all on board with us. It's the 5th round in the Autodromo Nazionale Monza, otherwise known as Monza for short amongst the F3 and racing community. Michael Barnett, your current race leader, you see him pulling off on the pit road. Michael Chow in the 66 also following him. We'll see if the 13 of Max Wobbles is going to do the same as he works his way through turn 11. He does. He jumps on the pit lane. Let's see if the trend continues. If John Kasai and the number 4 machine going to do it. If our top 4 all going to pit on the same lap here. Lap number 15. Looks like Kasai going to do the same things. It's going to hand the lead back over to Reed Gibson as Peter Reidinger also on pit road. So Nick Terrell, your last driver left to pit for fuel. Let's see if he'll elect to come in. Terrell holds the 10th spot right now, working his way into turn 11. So Reed Gibson back into the race lead. Finley Fitzsimmons was your pole sitter for the feature race. Had some early contact with the 2 of Jack Mundy that sent him out of the race. Gave the race lead over to Reed Gibson. Looks like Nick Terrell does pull on the pit road, so that's going to cycle through all of our pit stops for the feature race. Would not expect any driver to come back on the pit road barring any kind of contact at all. Gibson has a 1.3 second advantage over Micah Barnett. Michael Chow, another 3 3/4 second back from Barnett. Wobbles in 4th in the 14 or the 13 machine. John Kasai holds down 5th in the 3 machine. working our way into the last third of tonight's event. Got 8 laps to go here. Gibson works his way out of turn number 10. You can see Barnett trying to hang with him. He's holding the gap just under 1.5 seconds now. Gap stretched out just a little bit. We'll check the lap times next couple laps, see where the drivers are lining up pace-wise. They're all working their out laps following their service. Gibson's been dominating so far this season. Seen him win the last few weeks of feature races as well as a few sprint races to add into it. Grabbing some max points days, helping himself out in the standings. Burnett not wanting to let him get away too far, but Gibson has opened the gap up slightly. Now it stands at 1.5 seconds. They are pulling away from the 66 and Michael Chow. Michael Chow now almost 4.5 seconds back. So it's almost 6 seconds back of Gibson. So these two trying to separate themselves. Take a look. Field really starting to get spread out now following round of pit stops. See quite a bit of separation here. Got a couple groups of cars kind of stuck together. That's what happens when the drivers battle back and forth, grabbing toes off of each other, swapping spots. Never really able to pull away these longer straights here at Monza. Kind of tends to lead itself to those kind of battles. We'll see as Gibson and Barnett work their way to turn number 11, who's going to have the advantage lap times wise across the start finish line. Last time by, Gibson was about half second faster than Barnett. That was almost 2 seconds now. Barnett trying to do what he can. He was in 1 lap later than Reed Gibson. Seems like Gibson's just the class of the field again tonight. I'm gonna go back though. It's Felipe Ramos, Jay Shirley working into a little bit of a battle. You see Ramos in the red, green, and white 73. Jay Shirley in the 92. This for 16th and 17th on track. Shirley falls back. Now 0.8 of a second back. Had the gap to 0.3 at one point. Work their way onto the front stretch. Shirley closes up quite a bit. Grabs a toe off of Ramos. Ducks to the right-hand side. They go side by side down the front stretch. Let's see if Ramos concedes the position to Shirley, or Shirley tries to make a move. Shirley clears Ramos into turn 1. Split Shirley up to 16th. Felipe Ramos back to 17th. Go up a little bit further through the field. Felipe Sarkis, Reidinger in the 44 leads Nick Beaver by 1/10 of a second. These two cannot seem to get away from each other. They're battling for 7th and 8th. We're still holding on to that hard charger spot, plus 15. Reidinger trying to give himself a couple more points. Beaver pulls to the right-hand side. Work their way here into turn number 11. Reidinger concedes the position to Beaver. Beaver pushes a little wide. They're going to come side by side out of turn number 11 on the front stretch, it looks like. We'll see if Reidinger momentarily dips behind Beaver to try to grab a toe. No, he's going to elect to stay to his right side. Now he does. Thinks about grabbing that toe. Tries to carry as much momentum down the front stretch as he can into turn 1. Beaver going to try to be defensive. Reidinger thinks better of it. We saw him sit behind Gareth McAllister before they made green flag pit stop. So we know Reidinger not overly aggressive or impatient when trying to make any passes on track, thinking better of the situation in the corner entry there. So he sits half a second behind Nick Beaver now. See the drivers shoot by you as they work their way into turn number 4 and 5. Beaver still holding on to about a half-second advantage over Peter Reitinger. It's your closest battle on the track. Jared Ziegler with an issue. He's on pit road again. That is an unplanned pit stop. This puts Ziegler all the way back to 17th now. Makes Gareth McAllister, the 25 machine, your provisional pole sitter for the sprint race. Should it finish the way it is right now? We're going to have 4 laps to go as Reed Gibson works his way back onto the front stretch. We're not done with this battle here between Beaver and Reitinger. Half second still the separation between the two. Reitinger really trying to grab a toe off of Beaver. Beaver is about 10th and a half faster the last time by. They're also trying to chase down 3 of John Kasai and the 4 of Felipe Sarkis. Sarkis, though, 2 seconds ahead, so they're going to need to cut some substantial time out of that gap as they're just going to have 4 laps to go. So they're going to be crossing the start-finish line. You see Beaver opening the gap up to about 0.6 of a second now. We'll jump back as we're going to have a battle here for 11th and 12th. Ryan Tebow, 27 machine, leading Gareth McAllister. McAllister a car length back as they work their way onto the front stretch. See McAllister charging to the far inside portion of the straightaway, grabs a big toe off of Tebow, tries to complete the pass. See if he can clear him as he pulls back up to the left-hand side to try to take that line into turn 1. Tebow concedes the position, so Tebow now back to 12th. Gareth McAllister up to 11th. Tebow with a little bit of a clip of the curb there into turn 1, pushes him wide for turn 2, allows McAllister to open that up to a full second now. Behind them, Nick Terrell and Edward Frederick Bittner engaged in a battle 13th and 14th on track. They just worked their way through 1 and 2. Terrell in the black and green Mountain Dew machine. Bittner behind him in the 61 machine. Black with a little bit of the copper trim on it. Last time by, Terrell was about 0.7 of a second faster than Bittner, but has a 0.4 of a second advantage over Bittner. Work their way through 4 and 5. See who can grab the advantage here. Work their way through turn at number 7. Terrell trying to break the toe of Bittner. Bittner not letting him get away. Gap still half second. So they work their way down into turn number 8, 9, and 10. See who has the advantage here, who can take the efficient line through this chicane. It's like Bittner able to pick off about half a tenth to a tenth on Nick Terrell that time. Puts himself just slightly closer to Nick Terrell. You see back in the distance the 73 of Felipe Ramos. There was a little bit of an earlier entrance into turn 11, pushes them a little bit wider. Drivers have to be careful, try to carry as much momentum out of turn 11 down the front stretch as they can. Sometimes you'll see them enter a little bit later. Apex just a little bit later allows them to carry a bit more momentum. Terrell now only 0.1 of a second ahead of Bittner. Bittner going to dive to the right-hand side. See if he can take away that position. Thinks better of it, falls back in line behind Nick Terrell. It's a few times we've seen that. Drivers looking to take the inside line into 1 and then thinking better of it when they're not quite there. Really able to keep it clean. Looks like we've also got a birthday shout out in the chat. John Kasai, his little sister. Happy birthday to John. Nick Terrell gets passed by Bittner. Bittner able to pull that away. You saw that in 4 and 5. So Nick Terrell now back to 14th. Bittner up to 13th. He's trying to recover a couple more spots he's lost through the course of this feature race. Started 10th, back a few spots behind that. We're going to go back to the front, though. Reed Gibson Still maintaining the lead. He's opened the gap up to now almost 4 seconds over Micah Barnett. Michael Childs holding down third, Wobbles fourth, John Kasai fifth. Front five has not changed hands. Again, field's a bit spread out here. Work our way with about a lap and a half to go. Feature race. Gibson's led almost the entirety of tonight's feature event. It's on his first couple of laps when Finley Fitzsimmons was able to take advantage of starting on the pole before he had contact with Jack Mundy. Seems like it's a common theme here to have Reed Gibson up in the lead in these feature races. Certainly has been the class of the field so far here in this season. Jump back roads. We've got Nick Beaver trying to work his way further up through the field. He's got a couple tenths to go to get to the back of Felipe Sarkis. Sarkis holding down 6th place. Nick Beaver in 7th. White flag in the air for all the drivers as Reed Gibson crosses the line. Let's see if Beaver can continue his march towards the front. Only driver to gain double-digit spots here in this feature race from their starting position. Had a couple drivers lose double-digit spots, but nobody's gained double digits, so important accomplishment there by Nick Beaver. He's going to cross the starting finish line to begin their final laps. Let's see Beaver trying to take the left side into one. Sark is going to concede that. Beaver carried a lot of momentum into one, but still able to make that pass stick. So now Nick Beaver up to 6th. Felipe Sarkis back to 7th. Reidinger trying to close down on Sarkis, but he's got 2 seconds to go. 99 of Jake Duckwalt in pit road. He's going to put Norman King into 12th. He's going to be your provisional, but just as I say that, Sarkis not ready to concede that position to Beaver. They go side by side into 4 and 5. A little bit of contact there leaves Sarkis for the worst. He's going to put Peter Reidinger by him. So Beaver back to 6th, Reidinger up to 7th, Sarkis back to 8th. You saw Sarkis really trying to hustle it into 4, carry as much momentum as he could. Fortunately, a little bit of contact there. The 10 of Nick Beaver. So we're going to work our way back across the start-finish line. Reed Gibson going to grab the feature win. Almost 4 seconds ahead of Micah Barnett. Barnett going to cross the line in 2nd. Michael Chow going to cross the line here in 3rd. Max Wobbles works his way onto the front stretch. He's going to bring it home in 4th. John Kasai working his way out of turn number 11. He's got a solid top 5 secured. Works his way back onto the front stretch. Brings it across the line in 5th. Seeing Nick Beaver pulling away from Peter Reidinger after that contact. Sarkis finishes 6th, Reidinger 7th. Sarkis crosses the line crawling in 8th. Gareth McAllister come out of turn number 11, holding down the 9th position. Big gap back to Ryan Tebow, so looks like no issues for McAllister to finish 9th. Ryan Tebow now onto the front stretch. He's going to finish it out in 10th place. Norman King works his way up to 11th after Bittner having some issues. Bittner going to be your pole sitter for the sprint race following the intermission. He finishes 12th. Nick Terrell crossing the line in 13th. Felipe Ramos in 14th. And Jay Shirley going to be the last driver on track. He's going to bring it home here in 15th to close out our feature event. Great run by all the drivers there. We're going to give our drivers just a couple minutes, see if we can grab our podium finishers for a little post-race interview. Give them just a few minutes and have the rest of the drivers begin their preparations for the sprint race. They're going on a 10-minute intermission. Some drivers are going to be jumping out on track for some practice. Other drivers going to be taking a little bit of a break outside of the cockpits and their machines, maybe do a bit of debrief with their teams, try to pass along any information, learn any last minute tips for the sprint race. Waiting on your third place finisher, Michael Chow. Grab the results of Heat 1 up on the screen for you while we wait here. Let's give Michael Chow just another minute. See if we can grab him. If not, we will see if we can talk to our top two finishers at least. Looks like they're both ready to go. Alright, while we wait for Michael Chow, let's grab our second place finisher, driver the number 59, Micah Barnett. Got with me our second place finisher here, driver of the number 59 machine, Micah Barnett. Micah, it was a strong race. We saw you up in the front last week as well, able to avoid some of the chaos that happened early on in the race. What was the key for you being able to move yourself up through the field here in Monza tonight?
I got lucky on lap one when Jack and Finley had some contact, and I was able to fortunately scoot past that without getting hit. And then it was just trying to chase down Reed and try to save a little bit of tires. And yeah, so I just got to focus forward, not have to worry about what's going on behind me.
Yeah, we saw the field get a little bit stretched out. Drivers trying to stay as close as they can to grab a toe off their competitors, keep that momentum up. With being a little bit of separation, did you find it hard to try to make up any time on Reed and Micah or Michael to grab any time?
Yeah. I mean, it was the draft here is weird. It's pretty strong, but you really got to be within half a second or maybe 6/10 before you pick up anything useful. And I never got that close to Reed, so I was trying to pressure him enough to hope that he would use up his tires. But I think he's just got enough pace and pocket over what I can do that he was able to take it a little bit easy and still keep me at bay. So.
Anything you were able to learn from the feature race that you're going to take and put forward to the sprint race that you'd like to divulge with us?
No, I don't think there's any secrets for the sprint race. I think yeah, I didn't get to see a whole lot of what happened in turn one, but I'm going to get a much better view this time, be right in the middle of it. And yeah, if I can get through turn one safely, then I think I should have a good sprint.
Well, congratulations on a great second place finish. Anyone you send a shout out to or thank you to have let you go final preparations for the sprint race?
Yeah, thanks. Scuderia Chicken House, as always, my wife and my daughter, and Team Goon Squad for the great broadcast.
Congratulations on a great finish and best of luck in the sprint race tonight.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
That was your second place finisher, driver, the number 59, Micah Barnett. We're going to grab our third place finisher. We have Michael Chow with us now. Got with me in the booth our third place finisher from the feature race, Michael Chow. Michael, again, we saw contact early on with Finley Fitzsimmons. This time, Jack Mundy was too unfortunately getting involved. You were able to skate on by, grab over the third place. Was the key for you to try to avoid some of the chaos that happened early on in the feature race tonight?
As always, don't die.
That is pretty sound advice. We saw higher speeds, a little bit of cornering, loads on the car. Put the emphasis on tire saving. What was the key for you to try to get through the corners as efficiently as possible, but still not put too much wear on those tires tonight?
Well, I had to wake up before each corner, took some naps in the straights, and then just kind of went through, tried to manage the gap. I knew I wasn't catching the two guys in front. They're super quick, so it was just maintaining.
You feel like with these longer straights and the breaks in between the corners, maybe it'll lead to maybe a little bit of cleaner racing in the sprint race, or do you think with the advent of the few chicanes around the track that people are going to try to take those entries as opportunities to make big passes?
I'm pretty sure the sprint's going to be a disaster, as always.
Well, let's hope best of luck for you as you're going to be rolling off 10th in that. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or thank you to before we let you go prepare for the sprint race?
As always, shout out to you guys for the excellent broadcast. Shout out to the league for putting on a good event. It's always got great participation, so it's a lot of fun. And you know what? Shout out to all the other racers out there. Sometimes they have bad stuff go their way, but they keep showing up and trying to have fun, so it's cool.
Well said, and wish you the best of luck in the sprint race tonight. We look forward to seeing you rolling off in 10th tonight.
Thanks.
That was your third place finisher, driver number 66, Michael Chow. Gonna grab with us our race winner of the feature, Reed Gibson. Got with me our race winner from the feature race, Reed Gibson. Reed, seems like this is an every week theme for you. Finley Fitzsimmons able to grab the pole and then always runs into contact early on. You were able to skate on by. What was the key to grab that lead from him and then hold off everyone tonight?
I mean, I want to pretend and be smart that getting P2 was my ultimate strategy, but you know, in qualifying, without a toe, I just did not have the same pace that Finley had, and I think he had just straight up raw pace on me. So going into the first few laps, I was talking to my team and just trying to think, all right, what do we got to do to stay in this? And with the draft, I figured all I got to do is just stay behind him. And going into turn one, I really tried to play it defensive, just stay out of trouble. I stuck to my side of the track, and fortunately, I got a crazy draft going into that second chicane, and saw an opportunity to make a pass, and I just got lucky again. So honestly, it was just the luck of the draw and not making too many big mistakes on my end.
Well, we heard drivers talking about the strength of the draft here at Monza, but saying that you had to be pretty close within a half second or so of your competitors to be able to take advantage of it. It seems like you had more of a lead than that most of the race. What was the key for you to try to stay ahead of the drivers and not allow them to grab any time on you through the straightaways?
Yeah, I think it was just really trying to not push too hard. When you're all by yourself, it's easy to slow down too much and not push it. But it's also easy to just push excessively hard. So I had my eye on the delta bar to Micah for the first half of the race, and I was sitting at 1.1 and 1.2, and in my mind I was thinking one little lockup or something puts me 6 tenths back and puts me in the draft. So my only goal was to just do good laps, do clean laps, try not to lock it up, and that worked for the first half of the race. In the second half of the race, I made some mistakes. I nicked the sausage curve and went off in a Ascari, and I was able to keep it straight, and I opted to just pit early instead of letting Micah get into the draft, and luckily I was able to get the undercut done and come out of the pits in front of him.
Well, we also saw that some passes were trying to be executed into the chicanes, 3 of them on the course tonight. Tell me, you think those are going to be the places for a lot of overtaking and a lot of chaos in the sprint race, or do you think drivers are going to think better of that, maybe kind of concede track position and take the preferred lines, try to get a pass completed on the exits tonight rather than the entries?
Yeah, I mean, I think for longevity, you want to go for the passes on the exit, and I think people are realizing that you can attack pretty hard into the entry, but that slinky effect, you're really going to stack everybody up. So you kind of got to pick and choose if you think you can get the job done slower around the entry and still get back into that draft train. So personally, I don't really know what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and play it safe. I haven't had the greatest luck in sprint races with avoiding contacts. So we're going to get out there, we're going to try, and we're going to have fun.
Well, congratulations on a great win in the feature, starting 12th in the sprint race. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or thank you to for let you go final preparations for the sprint race?
Yeah, so just a shout out to the Chicken House. Micah and Michael, we're all in the same club, but we're all racing for different teams. So it was fun to see all 3 of us fighting and rounding out the podium today.
Congratulations on a great race in the feature win, and best of luck in the sprint race tonight.
Thank you.
That was your race winner, driver number 11, Reed Gibson. Got just a few minutes left in the intermission, so we're going to grab a quick commercial break, and we will get you back in time for the grid for the sprint race tonight. We'll see you back here shortly. Don't go anywhere. our sprint race. Like roll it off here. 61 of Edric Frederick Bittner starting off on the pole. Norman King 28 starting second. Brian Tebow 27 starting third. Garrett McAllister starting fourth. Felipe Sarkis fifth. Peter Reidinger sixth. Nick Beaver seventh. John Kasai 8th, Max Wobbles 9th, Michael Chow 10th, Michael Burnett 11th, and Reed Gibson back in 12th. Going back through the rest of the grid. Nick Terrell 13th, Felipe Ramos 14th, Jay Shirley 15th, Jake Duckwell 99 16th, Jeremy Ziegler 57 start 17th, Alex Penn 18th, 19th, Felipe Otis 20th, Wayne Scarling. Get ready for green though here. Drivers are off and rolling. Frederick Bittner having a bit of an issue there. You see him falling to the wayside. He's all the way on the outside of the track, so that gives the lead to 28 of Norman King. Norman King there on the center of your screen. Oh, makes contact hard. Looks like that was with Gareth McAllister. So there's a wreck to start off. King, though, somehow gets away with the lead. Oh, we get a caution. That's going to bring out full course caution. So it's going to be the second time we've seen a full course caution here on the sprint race. Last week, one as well. So a little bit of a botch start there going into turn one with contact between Norman King and Gareth McAllister. Fortunately, going to end Gareth McAllister and Peter Reidinger's night here in the sprint race. See how this all sorts out. So Norman King going to find his way around, pick up the virtual safety car next time by. So the layout being a little bit longer here, this may or may not put drivers into an issue for time limit. Reminder again, there is a 30-minute time limit on this sprint race. We will either race the 11 laps or we will run 30 minutes, whichever comes first. Drivers working their way around, full course caution again. Out on lap one, contact early on. Let's see if we can grab a little bit of a look at what happened. Looks like Reed Gibson may have been involved. We saw it just happen at the front, and it just clogged up the entire track. Let's take a look. Grab a look off of what happened. Well, they pull behind the virtual safety car. So let's look at it from Norman King's perspective. See Norman working his way down. He's got Tebow on the 27 to his left side, and you're looking at Gareth McAllister. There's 25, your first car on the left side of the screen, right side of the track. This is working down the front stretch into turn number one. See King trying to work his way down to the right side to take that inside line into turn one. Tebow tries to outbrake him. Gareth McAllister tries to make a move to the right-hand side, so we're going to go almost three wide. Norman King was kind of already committed to the entry, and that's where he turned right into McAllister, and then ends up getting, after the contact, gets into the right side of Tebow, sends him around. So you see Reidinger gets stacked up. There's John Kasai in that. Looks like you've got 13 there. Max Wobbles had to slow down. You've also got Felipe Sarkis that had to slow down there. A couple drivers, Jack Bundy. Looks like Finley Fitzsimmons electing to bail out on the chicane to avoid the clogged track. Going hard to the left. Couple drivers taking the access road here. Run off. That looks like possibly Jared Ziegler and Antonio Bianchi. So quite a few drivers getting tangled up in that one. That was your cause for this full course caution here at lap one. So we sit behind the virtual safety car. So we got Norman King in the race. Like we'll see if they get the one to go the next time by. will put us under full course caution, a little bit of a break. Just gonna try to get themselves regrouped. They really haven't turned any laps at all. Lights go out on the safety car, indicating drivers will have 1 lap before we go back to green flag racing. Lights are out, so it's 1 more trip around the circuit, and then the safety car will cut them loose. 8 laps to go once they get the green flag. Approaching 6 minutes into this, only 20% of the way there. The time allotment could potentially be out of time. I would imagine they should be able to get this in, turning around 1:46 laps on average, 1:47. About 15 minutes of racing, so don't see why they shouldn't be able to get the rest of this racing. I think it's going to take like 5 minutes to get around the course behind the safety car. Despite how long this track is, I don't think that's going to be the case, but you never know. We saw chaos ensue once into turn 1. It could happen again if drivers feel like they've got even more pressure to move up through the field with less laps remaining. See Alex Penn on pit road, Gareth McAllister, Peter Reidinger, both involved in that accident on turn 1 that brings out force caution. They are both out of tonight's sprint race, finishing 21st and 22nd respectively. Spots so far after leaving Simmons. Goes 12th after starting 23rd. Jack Mundy up to 11th after starting 22nd. And Antonio Bianchi up to 10th after starting 21st. All 3 of them right now tied for Hard Charger. But we'll see what happens when they get cut loose. And restarting lap number 4, have 8 to go. He's going to chop to 3rd. Seems to be in order of this nice sprint race off here under caution. It's going to ramp up the intensity even further. Drivers will know that they have even less time to try to make passes, work their way up through the field. He's normally getting a little bit more time up in the race lead as well. Looks like he's allowing the safety car to pull away. He's pulling the field up. Let's see what happens here for the restart. Alex Penn back on track. He's trying to catch up in the field. Gonna have a tough task though. He's almost a full lap behind. King goes back. Green flag conditions here. Green flag back in the air. So we are going back under racing, and quickly behind that we've got almost 3 wide. It's Beaver, Sarkis, and Wobbles. And now we see Nick Beaver going away from Wobbles and Sarkis. Wobbles clears Sarkis out of turn number 2, takes over the 3rd spot. spot. Felipe Sarkis back to 4th. Bittner and Kasai engaged side by side behind them for 5th and 6th. Work their way through turn number 3 with Michael Chow trying to hunt them from behind. Looks like Bittner holds on to 5th right now. Kasai, Chow lined up directly behind them. Tony Bianchi, Jay Shirley also side by side. We've got a couple side by side battles back throughout the field. Take a look at that. As you see Shirley there in the 92, flipping a little bit of the grass with the left side, gets a little loose. That allows Bianchi and Finley Fitzsimmons by him. Now Reed Gibson, your race winner for the feature race, trying to set his marks on, and Jay Shirley's even working his way through. Jumps to the right hand side. Into 8, 9, and 10 here momentarily. Gibson going to try to outbrake Jay Shirley. Looks like he clears them. Gibson going to pull in front of Shirley's 8th, 10th, or 11th place, excuse me, for Reed Gibson now as he works his way out of turn number 10. He'll start in single file out a little bit. Norman King, just a quarter of a second advantage though over Nick Beaver. We've seen the full force cautions kind of helping out unexpected race leaders. We saw it happen last week as well at Fuji. See how long Norman King can hold off Nick Beaver. Nick Beaver going to jump hard to the right hand side. They're going to go side by side down the front stretch. See what Nick Beaver can do as they're going to go side by side back into turn number 1. We'll see if King decides to concede the lead to Beaver, just hold on to 2nd, or if he's going to try to contend for it. He does concede the position, just tries to fall in behind, and Nick Beaver hang on to 2nd place. This is still a very great points finish for him. It's a nice sprint race. We're working lap number 5, 7 laps to go. So Nick Beaver going to try to start gapping at Norman King. Again, remember the toe's pretty strong as long as you're within a half second. You see Norman King grab the toe out of turn number 3. Try to take the inside line into turn 4. Has to move to the left side, then look to the right hand side behind Nick Beaver. Side by side now going into 6th for the race lead. Norman King falls in behind Nick Beaver. He's got Max Wobbles in the 13 closing up on him hard. I think he saw him in his sliding gears and said, oh no, 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 I need to protect 2nd. Wobbles now going to set his sights on King as he goes on these 2 tenths in a second behind. Fast lap right now, Norman King. Excuse me, fast lap. Fast lap with Nick Beaver last time by. We'll see how that improves as they stay in the green flag here. Norman King trying to hold off Max Wobbles as much as he can. As he wobbles all over the rear wing of Norman King, trying to grab as much of the toe as he can. Felipe Sarkis also trying to grab a toe, works his way into this battle. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th on track, allowing Nick Beaver to pull away. Beaver's got just over a 2nd lead now. Way out of turn number 11, back on the front stretch. Let's see what they can do here. Dumps to the right hand side. Sarkis goes even further right, 3 wide down the front stretch into turn 1. Are we going to see any contact? Who's going to be the one to play chicken and bail out? Looks like Sarkis is the one backs all the way back out. Almost gets by Norman King. Gets himself up to 2nd. Sarkis stays in 4th. He's going to have a fuel look at Michael Chow and Jack Lundy, both of them trying to work their way through. Lundy trying to avenge a bit of a rough feature race after he got contact with Antonio Bianchi, sent flipping through the air. Sarkis working all over the back of Norman King. Looks like Sarkis going to try to take a right hand side look into turn number 6. Chow not too far behind them as well for the moment. King holds them off. Lundy trying to insert himself into this, so we're going to have a really good battle here. Full 3rd through 6th. Not too far behind them. The 11 of Reed Gibson as well as the 17 of Antonio Bianchi. See what happens here. He rolls off this pack of cars momentarily. Jack Mundy and Felipe Sarkis going to work through. Oh, Jack Mundy goes for a spin off of turn number 10. Hard contact with the front nose. Destroys that. You saw Chow able to avoid him. For the moment, that gives Norman King a bit of a breather. He's got a half-second advantage ahead of Michael Chow. Chow is 2nd ahead of Reed Gibson. He's feeling Fitzsimmons up to 6th now. So back to 7th. After that, Antonio Bianchi down 8th. Chow down the front stretch. He's going to jump out of line, looks to the right side, tries to complete the pass on Norman King. Continues to fall back through the field now down the fourth after starting on the pole. Chow completes the pass behind them, side by side between Finley Fitzsimmons and Reed Gibson. Gibson gets the better of them, pulls into 5th place now. On the list, he's got a 2.25 second advantage over Max Wobbles. Wobbles 1.3 seconds ahead of Michael Chow. Fitzsimmons side by side. They work their way back into 4 and 5. Only about half a car length separating the two. Fitzsimmons holding off Reed Gibson for the moment. Fitzsimmons up to 5th. Gibson back to 6th. Also got Sarkis and Bianchi closing in quickly. Sarkis 7th, Bianchi 8th. About a second of each other. Simmons closing on King. Ducks to the right-hand side, left-hand side, excuse me. Their way into 8, 9, and 10. Simmons clears King with no issues. We'll see what Gibson can do with Norman King now. King continues to fall. Outside of the top 5 for the first time here. We'll work lap number 7, soon to be lap number 8. We'll have just 4 laps to go in the sprint race. So Gibson takes the inside line, turn 11 on Norman King. He pushes him slightly wide. Almost a bit of contact there between the left side wheels of Gibson, the right side to Norman King. Looks like King going to try to grab a toe off of Reed Gibson, stays close to him as he possibly can. Take a pass back into turn number 1. They're going to go side by side just behind Finley Fitzsimmons. Gibson tries to get away from Norman King. He doesn't want any involvement with him. Does manage to succeed in pulling away from him, so came back to 6th now. Felipe Sarkis and Antonio Bianchi still nose and tail for 7th and 8th. Bianchi's been working all over the rear wing of Sarkis for the last lap and a half. See what he can do as he looks to the left-hand side into 4 and 5. Bianchi gets on by Sarkis, so puts him up to 7th. He's going to set his sights on Reed Gibson. Gibson gets passed by Norman King. Norman King making a green flag pass, putting himself back into the top 5. Power move. Gibson not going to take kindly to that. He puts it through the wing. Directly behind Norman King. Bianchi all behind Gibson. They're both going to try to go by Norman King as they're going to be working their way into 8, 9, and 10. See who has the advantage here between the 3 drivers. Looks like Gibson does take 5th place back. Norman King slots in behind him. Antonio Bianchi. Looks like he had a bit of an issue. You see him back now into 10th place there. Oh, and Felipe Ramos wide out of turn number 10. Back here as Gibson starting to pull away from Norman King. Micah Burnett, 2nd place finisher. Feature race now trying to work his way by Norman King. Has a toe behind him, pulls to the right-hand side down the front stretch. That's the advantage. Fastest lap of the race still goes to the 59 of Micah Burnett. 1 minute 4.65 seconds. Up to 2nd place here, though. Max Wobbles only a 7/10 of an advantage over Michael Chow. Chow the last time by about 4/10 of a second faster than Wobbles. Beamer opened the gap up to 3 seconds as a commanding lead. Gap still stays right around 6/10 of a second. It's kind of just on that outside edge of that toe being effective. We'll see if Chow can take advantage of it as he now picks up a couple tenths on Max Wobbles. Some great battles here. The way out of turn number 10. Long straightaway to try to grab toe. See what happens. does close the gap up now, 3/10 of a second down the front stretch. As the advantage Chow ducks to the right-hand side on wobbles. They're going to go side by side. Chow with a power move. Clears wobbles before they get into turn number 1. So Michael Chow goes second. Max wobbles back to third. Chow's got 3 seconds to go. They're going to try to get to Nick Beaver. Back here as played by Sarkis. Next one to work on by Norman King. Sarkis up to 7th. Norman King back to 8th. Back up to the front though, as this battle between Chow and Wobbles not finished yet. Wobbles had it down to about 1/10 and a half. Now it's back to 3/10 of a second. Just tries to stay close early up. Michael Chow doesn't want to let him go. Wants to stay within that slipstream. Carry as much momentum as possible. Until Scott Finley Fitzsimmons closing in behind him. Fitzsimmons 1 3/4 second back. Fitzsimmons just got a little wide there. Turn number 7 gets off into the gravel slightly. Chow and Wobbles still running almost nose to tail. 3/10 is the difference between the two on track. Beaver opening up the lead. 10s now. Work their way across the line this time. We'll be getting a white flag, so we will see completion of the full scheduled distance of this race. Time will not be an issue despite that penalty from the first caution. White flag in the air for Nick Beaver. He's got to go one more circuit to grab the feature win. Chow and Wobbles, second half ahead of Finley Fitzsimmons. Let's see if these two are going to sort it out. Who's going to finish second? Who's going to finish third? Looks like Wobbles with a little bit of a worse exit out of turn 2. Chow carrying just a little bit more momentum, opens that gap up to about 6/10 of a second. Way through turn number 3. Ryan Tebow, half second ahead of Edward Frederick Bittner and the 3 of John Casaitis, 10th, 11th, and 12th on track. See how this closes down. Bittner and Casaitis close up to Tebow at all. Do it soon though. Away. Coming into 8, 9, and 10. Stabilizes, so Chow holding off Wobbles back up to second. Holds off Wobbles momentarily. 3/10 is the advantage. They work their way into turn number 11 for the final time. Look at Nick Beaver works his way onto the front stretch. So Nick Beaver gonna grab the win here in tonight's sprint race. Crosses the line in 1. Chow gonna hold off Wobbles. Finishes second. Wobbles third. Finley Fitzsimmons coming on a close 4th. Gibson brings it home 5th, Micah Barnett 6th, Base Sarkis 7th, King just holds off Antonio Bianchi from 8th, Bianchi 9th, Tebow 10th, Bittner 11th, Cy 12th. Ramos coming on, and Blaine Sparling working his way. Turn 11 is the last one. Complete across the start-finish line here. So that's going to wrap it up for our sprint race. Grab you those results there. See them momentarily on your screen. Nick Beaver again grabbing the race win. Michael Chow able to move up to second. Max Wobbles finishes in third. Finley Fitzsimmons, your hard charger of the race, grabbing 19 spots, finishes fourth. Reed Gibson able to work his way from 12th all the way up to 5th. Micah Barnett, after finishing second, feature race finds himself 6th. Sprint race. Driver's a couple more minutes. Let's see if we can grab our podium finishers post-race interview. And you can see through the rest of the field. Drivers having some issues getting taken out fairly early on as a result of that calamity in turn 1, lap 1. Scroll back through the rest of the field. As you see, McAllister, Redinger, our first 2 casualties out of tonight's event. Tough breaks for them. Just waiting on Max Wobbles is our last podium finisher. So grab him here momentarily. Give him just a minute. If not, we will grab second place first. Alright, looks like we've got Max Wobbles. Got with me our third place finisher in tonight's sprint event, Max Wobbles. Max, you saw chaos happen there on turn 1, 3 wide, and almost never works here at Monza. Tell me what the view was like inside the cockpit of your machine entering turn 1 tonight.
All I could see was the back of that car in front of me. I had really no idea what was going on, and then everybody just stopped. So I decided to kind of go over the little curbs there to get around people, and the safety car ended up working out well for me because I had to slow down. But yeah, that was kind of chaotic there in the beginning, to say the least. Whoever was up the inside there was never going to make that work.
Well, we saw the safety car kind of group everybody back up, burn a couple laps off, effectively shorten the sprint race even further than it's already shortened. Do you feel like that ramped up the intensity at all, or did we see about the same thing we would have seen had we stayed green off the initial start?
I don't know. I know it definitely helped me out. I got a pretty good restart. Whoever was in second was kind of caught sleeping a little bit on that restart there. I think it ended up being about the same as what it would have been. It definitely helped me because I had wing damage, and I don't think I would have been able to hang on to that position if it just stayed green with everybody close together and that kind of kerfuffle at the beginning there. But yeah, it was pretty fun to bring back a double podium for our team there, Scuderia Chicken House, with Mike Chow.
Certainly great job hanging on with him. You guys were engaged in a pretty good battle there the last couple of laps. You two being teammates, did you maybe give a little bit more respect, a little bit more room on the track than you would with a fellow competitor?
Oh yeah, that wasn't a battle. I had front wing damage, so I just let him by into turn 1, and then he was able to play the team game a little bit and give me a little bit of a draft to keep us ahead of Finley, who was coming hard there at the end. So thankful to have him up there and kind of run and blocker a little bit, get some of that air out of the way with that damaged front wing that I had.
Well, congratulations on a well-deserved third place finish in the sprint race. Anybody want to send a shout out to or thank you to for letting you go celebrate that tonight?
Just shout out to my teammate Mike Chow for coming in clutch there at the end. That was super good, and I don't think I would have been able to hold off Finley if it wasn't for him kind of giving me some draft there at the end.
Congratulations on a great effort, and best of luck with the rest of the season going forward.
Appreciate that.
That was your third place finisher, driver of the number 13, Max Wobbles. I'm going to grab our second place finisher, Michael Chow, 66 driver. Got with me for the second time tonight. Michael Chow finishing second in the sprint race, following up a third place finish in the feature race. Tell me, same thing I asked Max. We had that chaos off of turn 1 and lap 1. What was the key for you getting through that without too much damage?
Listen, first of all, I'm just thrilled I got a double podium, and then we got double podium for the team on the sprint race as well. So that was awesome. Key to this was, as always, not dying. Although this time, I saw my life flash before my eyes when the chicane was a parking lot, and but it worked out okay.
Yeah, we saw a couple drivers going every which way trying to avoid the contact there in the chicane as it became a literal gridlock. Brought out the safety car. Did you feel like that helped or hurt you there in the sprint race?
I felt like the safety car, I don't know, I'm going to take a closer look at it. I'm not sure what happened, but I thought the safety car, when people like cut the chicane, the moment the flag was thrown, like it reordered people based on that. But I don't know. But at the end of the day, I guess it didn't really matter.
Well, we heard from Max that you were able to work a little bit of teammate there, help him out, grab a toe, keep him in front of Finley. We know how important the draft was. We spoke about that after the feature race. Do you feel like you guys had any shot at trying to get to Nick to close down the lead at all with a couple laps to go once you got by him?
We were watching the gaps, and we were closing on Nick much slower than Finley was closing on us for sure. So probably with about 2 laps ago, our attention was on our butts.
Certainly a job well done holding him off and grabbing that double podium. Anybody else you want to send a shout out to or thank you to for let you go celebrate that tonight?
No, I've talked enough tonight. Have a good night.
Congratulations on a great double podium tonight. We'll see you on the track next week.
Thanks.
Is your second place finisher, driver of the number 66, Michael Chow. Grab our race winner of the sprint race tonight. I've got with me the man of the sprint race, driver of the number 10 machine, Nick Beaver. Nick, what was the key for you being able to grab the lead from Norman King after the safety car came out and check out from the field?
I think being smooth and hitting my marks was the biggest thing for me. I hate this track so much. I hate it so much. I can't figure it out, but I learned at the end of the first race to kind of simmer down a little bit. This seems like a track that can't be driven hard. It just has to be driven clean, hit all the marks. So I learned at the end of the first one and carried that over into this race. And I guess I was just lucky enough to hang on to the lead and take home a win. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, certainly job well done. Asked the same thing to both Michael Chow and Max Wobbles. Turn 1, lap 1 was chaos as expected and advertised. What was the key for you working your way through that, able to keep your car clean?
Yeah, that's a tough one. You want to be kind of cautious and expect it, but you can't be too cautious or you'll get run over from behind. And I did run into someone from behind. I think I was just I was lucky enough not to get involved in the bigger mess. It's kind of a crapshoot trying to make it through the turn 1 and 2 shenanigans, and I was lucky this time.
Absolutely. What was the point in the sprint race where you feel like you had a real shot at being able to grab the win? Was it when you were closing down on Norman King, or was it a certain point after you took the lead away from him?
Oh, it was much later in the race. I know that there are plenty of much faster guys in the field. When I saw Michael Michael and Max were side by side at some point, right? Maybe 3 to go. I thought maybe that was the point. I could have taken home a win. I think maybe on average, Michael might be a full half second faster than me. So I knew with that was not number in my head at least. So with that buffer and the amount of laps left, that was kind of how I felt that the win was possible.
Congratulations on a job well done grabbing that race win. Anybody you want to send a shout out to or a thank you to before I let you go celebrate that victory tonight?
Riley, Ed, Reed, Brandon, thanks for watching, guys. I don't know if they're watching the live stream. They sure watched mine. So thanks, guys, for the support. And I'm looking forward to next week.
Congratulations on a great run, and we will see you back on the track at Spot next week.
Awesome. See you then.
That was your race winner of the sprint race tonight, the number 10 pilot, Nick Beaver. So that's going to do it for us here tonight. We had a great race in the feature race, and as advertised, calamity ensued in the sprint race. Turn 1, lap 1 turned into a massive parking lot. We got our second virtual safety car 2 weeks in a row, grouped everybody back up, chopped some time off, and ramped up the intensity even further. Saw a lot of great side-by-side battles. Norman King able to hold on, finishing 8th. A couple other drivers able to avenge some poor finishes in the sprint or in the feature race, bring it home higher up in the sprint race tonight. Glad to have you all tuned in on board for tonight's racing action. Again, this was the 5th round of the League Zero Racing Series, the premier Formula 3 iRacing League, coming from Autodromo Nazionale Monza. My name is Jacob Fuscannon with Team Goon Squad. Glad to bring this all to you this week, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you all back here, same place, same time next week. Have a great week, everybody.